Emily. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have tons of tips for you guys on how to successfully cram for your exams. I'm assuming you clicked on this video because you either have been too busy to study or you have procrastinated your studying and now you have finals coming up. So without further ado, let's just get right into the tips. The first tip I have for you guys is just to organize all your material. If you have everything organized and just all not a mess, it will help you focus better so that you don't have to spend as much time sorting through everything. Make sure to eat a balanced meal and hydrate because your brain works best when your body is fully nourished. A lot of people will be so busy studying that they will forget to eat. So one tip I have is to prepare some healthy snacks that you can just grab when you're in the middle of studying. The next tip may sound weird, but only make a study guide if you have time. I know me personally, sometimes I will start making a study guide because I'm just procrastinating studying, but if you don't have time, don't even waste your time on making it. Just get right into your notes and just study from those. Get rid of any distractions and find a quiet space. So maybe put your phone on Do Not Disturb. This also includes clearing your mind of any other distractions. So maybe practice some deep breathing or some yoga or meditation before starting your study session. This could really just help you give a clean slate and a fresh mind to learn some information. Avoid the inefficient study groups. So when it's close to that crunch time and it's almost time for your exam, you don't have time to get into a group and just talk and not really study, because I know that tends to happen when, nothing wrong with it, but whenever you try to do a group study and you guys end up just like talking about how stressed you are or something like that, it's not gonna help you on your exam. So just try to get yourself away from that and just have your own individual studying time if you're in that crunch time. Use a 50-10 split so that you don't burn yourself out and you're not studying for hours and hours at a time. So what this is that you study for 50 minutes and then you take a 10-minute break. During each break, try to do something active or fun, so you can go exercise. Try not to do anything like scrolling through social media because that usually ends in you taking a very, very long break. Whatever you want to do, maybe it's meditating or, I don't know, having a dance break. Who knows? Just make sure that you aren't going on your phone during these breaks. The next tip I have is to learn all of the main points first, because at this point, you might not have time to learn every single little detail. And you're much more likely to understand the detailed questions if you know the whole main point. If you don't know the whole main point, there's no way you're gonna understand or be able to reason through those little detailed questions. After you learn all the main concepts, and if you still have time, then I would recommend going to the little details that you know the least amount about, so that way you will have a brief understanding of at least everything, if that makes sense. Also, don't just study the same things over and over and over again. I know this can make you feel good because you know like one thing really well, but what happens if that one thing isn't on the exam? I know that has happened to me before. I was learning DNA synthesis and I knew that like the back of my hand, and that was the one thing that wasn't on my exam. So I just recommend making sure you run through everything at least briefly, and sometimes I will number my pages of my study guide or my notes, and I will use a number generator on my phone. I know this sounds silly, but it works. And I'll just have it generate a number, and then whatever number, I'll go to that page and study that page, and once I've studied it, I set it aside. And I just keep doing this until I've gotten through all of the pages. The next tip I have is to talk out loud to yourself. So I did a lot of research before filming this video, and they said to try to get all of your senses, or as many of your senses, involved in the studying, because it will help build memories easier in your short-term memory so that you're able to remember more for the exam. So one thing I like to do is talk out loud to myself and say the information so that I'm hearing it and saying it and seeing it, and you have a better chance of remembering it that way. Another thing you can do is rewrite your material, so that way you are also using your, what's it called? What is that called? So the next tip I have is to write out your notes. That way you are using your, oh my gosh, why did I just forget it again? Another thing you can do is write out your notes. That way you are committing them to muscle memory. So now you are seeing it and then you are writing it. So before we were seeing it, hearing it, saying it. So now we're just using all of our senses and you're really gonna increase your chances of remembering that information. The next thing you can do is create mnemonic devices. I think that's what they're called, to remember things. This will help you, especially using this for like lists that you have to remember. I think that is the biggest thing to use this for, like, you know what I'm trying to say. These are really helpful. The next tip I have is to quiz yourself. So a really good way to make sure that you understand it is to ask yourself questions and see if you can give like an answer. So try to ask like open-ended questions so that you have to like explain the information more and elaborate. Or you could find like practice tests or like use the Quizlet test feature or whatever. That would be really helpful too. Remember to reward yourself every so often to keep yourself going when you meet one of your goals. Like say you finish halfway through your notes for one class, reward yourself with either a longer break, go take a bath, I don't know, eat a piece of candy, do something to reward yourself for your hard work. This next tip I honestly use all the time. I was using this more when we were actually doing school on campus, but instead of staying up super late to study, I would go to sleep early and then set an alarm for early in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock. I know it sounds kind of crazy, and then I would get up and study in the morning before my exams. And I found this really helpful because I feel like my brain just works better in the morning than it does at night. And if I were to stay up late at night, I wouldn't actually be retaining any information. So this might not work for everyone, but it definitely is something for people that are more morning people or know that they're more productive in the mornings. Don't stress, everything's gonna be fine. Just remember to take it one thing at a time, and every new concept that you learn is one more concept that you're gonna understand on your exam. So just remember that, don't freak out, take some deep breaths if you're starting to get overwhelmed, and you're gonna do great on your exams. So that is all the tips that I have for you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this and you found them helpful. If you try some of them out, let me know how they go in the comments, and like this video and subscribe to my channel if you wanna see more videos like this, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!